everyone, and welcome to another round of Tuesday Night Legacy. Tonight, we've got Mardu Reanimator versus Black Pox. Let's take a look at the deck lists. On the left, we have Maxwell playing a Mardu Reanimator list. This is mostly a mono black list with a little bit of red splash for the Magus in the sideboard, and also the Faithless Looting main board here, just to be able to put a couple of those fatties into the yard for you. He's also running that white for maybe someday, probably never, playing Chancellor of the Annex from his hand, since it has those 3 white pips. But we are using the tears out of the sideboard to destroy enchantments that are problematic. This is kind of going back to a little bit of the old school Reanimator with the Chancellor of the Annex, making it very difficult for your opponent to play their spells with this counter it unless they pay an extra 1, especially if you get to reveal that card at the beginning of the game. Kind of makes it so that your first card is uncounterable, especially if you are on their turn 0, so you can't get Force of Willed in response since they don't have any lands in play, can't pay the 1. The entire point of the deck is to put a fatty into the yard and then bring it back to play with either Animate Dead, Reanimate, or Exhume. On the right, we have Carlos playing his mono Black Pox deck. Now, we've seen him on the channel before playing his Humans deck, and he also has a green Black Pox deck. This is the first time we've seen mono black, though. This deck is all about denying resources to your opponent, albeit their lands or their cards in their hand or creatures in play. And he has all sorts of cards that help him do that. Most notably Liliana the Veil and Hymn to Turak, Sinkhole, and of course Wasteland is one of the most important cards, being able to destroy all those non-basics. And from there, the win conditions are basically just Nether Spirit and Mishra's Factory, being able to turn that into a 2/2 and turn it sideways. Now, this deck that I did bring up here has the Karn the Great Creator package, which allows you to lock your opponent out of the game either with Liquid Metal Coating or Mycosynth Lattice, but I don't believe we see Carlos play any of these cards, so I'm not sure if they are in the deck. This was just an approximation. So now that we are a little bit more familiar with the decks we'll be seeing, let's go ahead and get this started. We have Maxwell with an aggressive mull down to 4 cards, starting with a Marsh Flats and passing turn. Just seeing a Swamp from Carlos passing. Looks like Maxwell is probably setting up for the end of turn Entomb here. We see, yep, there is the Entomb, searching for a card from his library, getting that Badlands into play, probably setting up for the Faithless Looting that's in his hand. We're putting Grizzlebrand into the graveyard. Probably has a 2-cast Reanimator spell on his next turn here. We're seeing a main board game 1 Surgical Extraction. I don't even have it pulled up. Surgical Extraction, being able to go and get any card in any graveyard that's not a basic land, remove it from the game. Just taking out all those Grizzlebrands, a fantastic play against a Reanimator strategy. Not usually seen, usually a sideboard card, but it looks like Carlos goes for the main board there. Quite a bit of reaction here. So we saw Thoughtseize take a Liliana, Wasteland taking out that base or that Badlands. A Dark Ritual into Liliana of the Veil is now going to get us caught up with a Mishra's Factory in play. Maxwell is hellbent. Oh no, he's not. He's got the Faithless Looting still in hand, but we know about it because of the what was that? The Thoughtseize effect? No, there was no Thoughtseize effect. I guess he just had it out. Whew, so we're seeing 2 cards go to the yard, Entomb and Animate Dead. Another Wasteland is going to take out that second Badlands. Now Maxwell just down to a Godless Shrine. So Carlos cracking in here with the Mishra's Factory. Mishra's Factory, of course, being able to turn into a 2/2. If he gets a second one, he can pump it up to a 3/3. Maxwell drawing a Exhume, putting the Archon of Cruelty into the yard. Although it looks like he is banking on grabbing a Reanimate here, hopefully off the top. But with him already down to 10, I think this is the turn he needs to draw it, because Archon is an 8 cast. Now he can't even cast Reanimate now. So there's a Dark Ritual. Was he casting the dark? Oh, no, it was a Thoughtseize. I think that was discarding an Unmask there. I think Max needs to draw a land now. If he already has a Reanimate spell in his hand, like Animate Dead or something, then he can bring this one back. There's a Grief from another discard from the Liliana. Nether Spirit going to the yard for Carlos, bringing it back. Does it gain haste? It does not. So we're going to see... I'm going to pump up again here. Discarding Dark Ritual, discarding Thoughtseize. Another 2. And it looks like this is the final turn that Max has here. He's at 3 mana, went for that fetch. And I guess he's hoping just to rip the spell off the top. Doesn't see it, so we are into game 2. Carlos really showing what a denial of early resources looks like here. Maxwell only being on 4 to start was kind of rough too. I think he was all in on that strategy. That turn 1 surgical extraction was pretty intense. So we're seeing a Grief on turn 1 here. Being able to discard a card, decides to discard Null Rod. Null Rod shutting down all of our artifacts. So like Lotus Petal is not going to work. Oh, sorry about that. So we're seeing a Lotus Petal come into play. Here's Null Rod for you. It is an okay card, I think. You know, to be able to shut down these Lotus Petals, that's a big deal. We're seeing Archon of Cruelty go to the yard. A Thoughtseize effect, I think, in response to that Entomb. So didn't catch anything. The Grief is crashing in here. So Max basically just waiting to draw a Reanimator spell here. Small Pox is going to take care of the Grief. Although I think we're still... No, I guess the spell was fully resolved. I thought everybody had to sacrifice a land, though. Maybe that wasn't a Smallpox. Maybe it was something else. We see a Leyline of the Void coming into play. Maybe a little bit late here, since the ideal card is already in the yard. So anything else going to the yard now for Max is going to get exiled. But as long as he can find that Reanimator spell, Maxwell is fine. We're seeing another Grief, going to get rid of a Dark Ritual. So now Carlos is hellbent with these 2 Wastelands not being super useful. 3 basic swamps in play. I think they're from Mirage. Good choice. An Innocent Blood off the top. It's going to take care of that Grief. So Carlos still in the game. Maxwell kind of just waiting for a Reanimator spell. Yeah, so Exhume is going to do it. So both players get to bring a creature from their yard back into play. But I don't think Carlos has any creatures to reanimate. Archon of Cruelty going to come in. We're going to see a Smallpox that is going to get rid of the Archon before it was able to kill Carlos. It did get that nice fat bonus there, getting to draw a card and gain 3 life. And drain Carlos for 3. And now we see Carlos maybe on the coming back here. Not sure. The Mistress Factory is crashing in. Down to 13. I mean, that is 7 more turns that Carlos needs to do something, but he is not out of the game yet. And Maxwell with 4 cards in hand. I don't know what he's holding on to here. He's got all those Lotus Petals in play. He's definitely got enough mana to do whatever he wants. He might even be able to cast the Chancellor. If he has 1 more mana, he could crack all 3 of those Lotus Petals for white. Oh, there it is! 3 white! Wow. Okay, Chancellor in play. Aw, so sad. I think that's actually that new Edict card. Either sacrifice a creature or a planeswalker. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's from 1. So just reanimating a Grief here. Going down to 4. That was pretty cool, though, seeing that Chancellor come to play. Carlos trying to decide. He knows he's pretty much dead here. Decides to activate the Castle Lochthwain. Losing 2 life because he has 2 cards in hand. Doesn't draw anything. And we are on to game 3. Carlos with a great start with the Leyline of the Void in play. Starting with an Unmask. Unmask, of course, you exile a black card. And then you can basically Thoughtseize. Getting rid of the Innocent Blood in Carlos's hand. Innocent Blood is a equal... of course, I don't have it in this list. Equal opportunity, sacrifice a creature for 1 mana. Each player sacrifices a creature. Not hurting Carlos at all since he doesn't have any creatures. Another land looks like a Reanimate. Not super useful. In Maxwell's spot, we see a Sudden Edict there. A Thoughtseize. What are we taking? We got a Grizzlebrand, Dothy Voidwalker. Maybe take the Dothy here, yeah, because it's actually the spell that can cast. And, you know, you do have the Sudden Edict, so you can actually, you know, do that dealing with Grizzlebrand. But with the Leyline of the Void in play, I mean, this is a bad case scenario for Maxwell. Especially with that Mishra's Factory crashing in for 2. Untapping. Don't even need to use the Wasteland. Have double Wasteland, though. No big deal. I dare you to crack that Verdant Catacombs for a dual land. He's going for it. Got the Godless Shrine. And we're casting the Wear out of the sideboard. So that is going to deal with that. And I think we're just going to go for it from here, right? I mean, you go and get the Archon of Cruelty with the Entomb. And then the Exhume. Entomb into Exhume. Or are we just casting... Well, how are we getting this guy into play here? Oh, I see. Yeah, pitched the Unmask for the Grief, sent the Grief to the yard, got rid of the Sudden Edict so that we were free to cast the Archon of Cruelty with the Exhume. So now, Archon in play. Carlos not quite dead yet, getting that back to the yard, but the problem is we have another reanimation spell. Losing 8 life, but then gaining 3. So as long as he wasn't dead from the reanimate itself, Maxwell in a pretty good spot now. Really rubber banded here. Slingshot back for the victory, maybe. Especially if this thing turns sideways next turn. I think that's game. Yeah, it's a 6/6, and when it attacks, I'm going to lose 9 life from this attack. He's at 12, so hoping for the best. Looks like there's a... Bloodghast in play. Activate, attack, and then Maxwell saying, yeah, we'll chump block the, or we'll destroy the Mishra's Factory. Let the Bloodghast get in for 2. Turns it sideways. You have to sacrifice a creature whenever Archon attacks. And he jumps up to 6. I think Carlos is seeing the writing on the wall here. Although he does draw an Innocent Blood, which is going to get rid of that Archon. See another Entomb, maybe just for the shuffle effect. More so than anything else. Decides to put Grizzlebrand into the yard. Although he already has Grizzlebrand in hand. You never know. Might be useful. And there it is. Animate dead. And that is going to drain for 3 life with the Archon. Maxwell takes it 2-1. Thanks as always for joining us at Tuesday Night Legacy. I hope you enjoyed the games. If this is your first time here, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date on our stuff. Thanks as always to Spellhold Games, located in Orange County, California. If you are local, come and check us out. Maybe you can even be on camera and be on one of these videos if you come on a Tuesday night. If you are interested in these deck lists, the visual deck list is always on our Instagram, and a link to the deck list is always in the description of this video, right below this video that's playing right now. And hopefully, if this video is going up on the Monday that I think it is, the third Tuesday of the month is coming up, which means that we are doing streaming commentary if our internet is good enough at the store. Go ahead and jump on Twitch at Tuesday Night Legacy and join us for it on Tuesday night. I think that's going to do it for us. So until next time, I've been Eugene. This is Tuesday Night Legacy, and we'll see you soon.